Today, we're going to talk about a totally different kind of intelligence. Look, this has nothing to do with test scores or how much trivia you know. We're talking about something way deeper, the very architecture of your mind. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Has anyone ever called you an overthinker? You know that feeling. Like you're playing a completely different game than everybody else because you just can't take things at face value?
Well, what if that's not a flaw? What if it's actually a sign of how your brain is, well, uniquely wired? We're going to explore this idea that so-called overthinking might just be a sign of a really advanced cognitive structure, and we're going to break down exactly what that means.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to rethink what intelligence even is. Let's just toss out those old ideas of genius for a minute. You know, the perfect GPA, memorizing a boatload of facts. That is not what we're talking about here. Yeah, check this out. On one side, you've got the common view, right? Good at math, high GPA, memorizes stuff. But on the other side, that's where it gets really interesting. We're talking about a rarer intelligence. This is all about your unique brain wiring, how you spot those hidden connections nobody else sees. And this is key, how you analyze your own thought processes. And that leads us right to the heart of this whole thing. It's a different kind of IQ, one that basically lets you become the architect of your own mind. It's called metacognitive IQ. And what is that? It's this incredibly rare ability to kind of step outside of yourself and analyze your own thinking. Think about it. You're not just having a reaction. You're actively monitoring your own biases. You're consciously adjusting your mental game plan. Most people, they just think. Very, very few can actually pop the hood and analyze the engine of their own thoughts.
And this quote, man, it just nails it. Brutal honesty with oneself is the ultimate engine for growth. That's the core of metacognitive IQ. It takes this intense level of self-honesty, right? You have to be willing to look your own mistakes in the eye so you can actually, fix them.
All right, so with that foundation in place, let's get into the 6 big signs that point to this kind of thinking. Think of them as the psychological tools of a true mastermind in action.
So, 6 signs. And the very first one is a total game changer in how you see the world. It's about moving away from simple, straight lines and diving into something way, way deeper.
Okay, sign number 1. You think in layers. So while most people might see a simple A to B path of cause and effect, you see a whole complex map. You see all the hidden connections. When you hit a problem, you don't just spin out in an anxiety loop. No, you're simulating outcomes, you're analyzing consequences, you're fixing flaws before they even happen. It is literally like playing mental chess, but you're 10 moves ahead of everyone.
Sign number 2 flows right from that. It's having that metacognitive IQ in practice. It's not just a concept, it's you actively analyzing why you think the way you do. You're always kind of scanning for your own biases, and you have that incredible ability to course correct the second you spot a flaw in your own logic.
Third sign, you are a natural-born pattern hunter. You're the person who sees links between ideas that seem totally random to everyone else. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and you just feel a shift in the tension, even if no one said a thing? That's what we're talking about. Psychologists actually have a name for this: empathic accuracy. It's like having a superpower for reading nonverbal cues and really getting what other people are feeling. All right, let's get to sign number 4. And this one might surprise you. It kind of flips the whole common idea of genius completely on its head, because it's all about acknowledging what you don't know. The key thing here is that you see the gaps. A rigid mind, it speaks with 100% certainty. It has zero self-awareness about its own limits. But a mastermind does the exact opposite. You get it. You understand that the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. That's intellectual humility. And that right there is a true sign of genius. Moving on to number 5, emotional self-reliance. You know how most people need that constant external validation, that social noise just to feel okay? Well, for a mastermind, silence isn't scary, it's a sanctuary. You handle your emotions internally. You don't need the crowd's approval. And you take one deep, meaningful conversation over 100 shallow ones any day of the week. And that brings us to our final sign, number 6. You use adaptive logic. So many people think changing your mind is a sign of weakness. Those are rigid thinkers, right? But you see it as a sign of strength. It's the only way to grow. When new evidence comes along and proves you wrong, you don't dig in and defend a bad idea. You adapt. You evolve your mindset, because you know that if your beliefs are stuck, then you're stuck. So let's do a quick recap. The 6 signs of this mastermind are thinking in layers, using that metacognitive IQ to self-correct, being a pattern hunter, seeing the gaps in what you know, being emotionally self-reliant, and using adaptive logic to grow. It's like having this incredibly powerful mental tool trip.
And all of this really brings us to the main takeaway. It's time to embrace your true strengths. It's all about that perspective shift,
starting to see these things not as weird quirks or flaws, but as the powerful features they really are.
At the end of the day, it's really about being real in a world that is constantly asking you to put on a performance. Having these traits, it's a validation. It's proof of your authentic way of thinking.
And hey, if you've been listening and these signs felt maybe a little too accurate, I want you to know that's not a coincidence. That feeling, that's your own self-awareness kicking in. And that is the very first step to really harnessing these incredible strengths.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Looking back at all 6 of these signs, which ones really jumped out at you? Which ones did you see in yourself? It's something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.